Today's video is really special because this is the last console created by one of the most important men in the history of video games. This is the WonderSwan Color Final Fantasy II Limited Edition. Now, unless you are really into retro games or the history of video games, you may have never seen or heard of this portable console before. And that's understandable, because, well, first off, the WonderSwan was never released outside of Japan, so it never had any sort of marketing in the western part of the globe. And while nowadays the WonderSwan has its own following outside of Japan too, it still remains a very niche console, and a very special one. The Bandai WonderSwan was released in 1999, and to be quite frank, it was yet another fighter in a ring already filled with knocked out competitors. After all, it's no secret that in the 90s the portable gaming market was a merciless battlefield, dominated by Nintendo. The beautiful packaging of the WonderSwan Final Fantasy II Limited Edition opens up on the top to reveal the console and a copy of the game, featuring the stunningly beautiful art from Yoshitaka Amano, the legendary artist that graced the covers and the art design of the entire Final Fantasy saga. This box is really well designed, and this top cover gives the chance to display all this beautiful art and the main content of the package in a very functional and great looking way. The box can be opened on the side, giving access to the entire content of the package: a Final Fantasy II themed WonderSwan color, a AA battery, a copy of Final Fantasy II, and hidden deeper in the box the so-called premium strap that gives the name to this limited edition. Let's check all these contents out, starting with the console. The original WonderSwan featured a black and white screen, and the version I'm holding in my hands right now is its first revision, called WonderSwan Color, released on December of 2000, basically a year after the launch of the original console. It features a slightly bigger 2.9 inches screen that, as you can guess from the name, also adds colors. One of the things that's really fascinating about the WonderSwan family of console is their rather unique buttons layout that allows for the console to be played both horizontally or vertically depending on the game. A very innovative concept and format, especially for the times. On the front of the console we can also find the power and start buttons and a button to regulate the volume, which is kinda weird, but it works. On the left side we can find a contrast wheel for the screen, while on the right side a speaker, and also a proprietary connector for accessories. On the back of the console we can find the cartridge and battery slots, with a lock button on the bottom to avoid opening the battery cover while holding the console. Another outstanding feature of the WonderSwan is the fact that it runs on a single AA battery that lasts for 20 hours for the color version, while the original black and white one lasts for 40 hours, which is crazy. Overall, the WonderSwan Color feels like a very neatly crafted console from top to bottom, with a remarkable attention to details that makes it stand out from most of the portable devices of the 90s. Everything is well polished to grant an enjoyable user experience, and it's something immediately noticeable the moment you put your hands on this console. It's a little wonder, really. The game comes in a small, nice box, featuring the logo of the game on the front and some more beautiful art on the back. Inside we can find some flyers, a very extensive player's manual, which is really good. I really miss those times, and of course the game cartridge that's inside this very neat plastic holder, which all WonderSwan games have. I like the packaging of these WonderSwan games. They are really well made, and there's a lot of attention to details even in the game box. As for the game itself, well, I can't lie to you guys, it's not that good. Final Fantasy II is sometimes addressed as the worst entry of the series, and I disagree with that. I think that award goes to Final Fantasy XV. I like J-pop, but I couldn't like those guys at all. But that's just my opinion, of course. But it's a fact that even among the older Final Fantasy games, the second entry of the series is definitely not something remarkable or even worth playing today, even though it's worth noting that this WonderSwan version is way better than the original, thanks to several improvements that include 16-bit graphics, additional cutscenes, improved backgrounds and sound, and many more quality of life improvements. Oh, and by the way, just like all WonderSwan games, Final Fantasy II is obviously in Japanese only, as the console itself never left the shores of Japan. No game ever got an English translation. Maybe just some tidbit of English in certain games, but it's pretty much all Japanese. Last but not least, of course, we have the premium strap, which is included in a nice little box, and it's a nice little collector's item that fans of the series will surely love to have in their collection. I don't know what material is this made from, but it looks good and feels, well, premium. A nice touch on top of an overall very great looking and well made collector's edition. As I mentioned earlier, the WonderSwan was one of the many consoles that tried to compete with Nintendo in the portable gaming market. But still, the WonderSwan was very different from the others and was really special. Why? Well, because it was created by the same person that designed the Game Boy. Yep, that's right. Both consoles here on this table were created by the same person and competed against each other in the portable gaming market at the end of the 90s. The name of that person is Gunpei Yokoi, in my opinion the most influential person in the history of video games. It will take an hour-long video to go through the story of this man and how he influenced the gaming world, which is something that I'm going to do, by the way. But to make it short, he's the one that invented the D-pad, the Game & Watch, and created the Metroid and Kid Icarus series. Oh, and he also was the mentor of a certain Shigeru Miyamoto and helped greenlight a certain game called Super Mario Bros. Gunpei Yokoi was nothing short of a legend, and in my opinion he deserves much more attention for everything that he has done for video games as a medium. The WonderSwan was Yokoi's first console as an independent creator after leaving Nintendo in 1996, when he founded Koto Laboratories and created a collaboration with Bandai to create the WonderSwan. But sadly, it was also his last console, as he tragically passed away in a car accident in 1997, during the development of the WonderSwan. So he never got to see his console released, which is very sad. But again, I'll get into the details in an upcoming video entirely dedicated to his incredible life. All in all, the WonderSwan Color is a great console and a great collector item due to its importance in the history of portable gaming consoles. This Final Fantasy II limited edition usually goes from anywhere around $100 and $150 on average on the web, depending on the overall conditions of the box. It's also worth noting that there is an almost identical limited edition for the first Final Fantasy that was also released on the WonderSwan, which goes for about the same price. The WonderSwan library is extremely rich with exclusive and third-party games, and from important brands as well, such as Gundam, Evangelion, Macross, Klonoa, Front Mission, and many more. But to be completely honest, if you're just interested in getting your hands on the WonderSwan and play some games, I'd highly suggest getting a Swan Crystal, which is the second and final revision of the WonderSwan, released in 2001. And that's mainly due to its screen, which is way better and without a doubt the best non-backlit display I've ever seen on a portable console. It's just a no-brainer, and the console can be purchased from prices that go from $100 to $130 online. But if you're one of the lucky guys that lives in Japan, you can get one for a way lower price in physical retro game shops, like $30 loose and in mint conditions. As for the reception of the console in Japan, by the end of its lifespan, which is pretty much the day the Game Boy Advance was released, the WonderSwan sold 3.5 million units, taking a good 8% of the portable gaming market from 1999 to 2003. An impressive result considering how Nintendo completely dominated that market. And while not beating big players like Sega or Atari, the Bandai WonderSwan still left an important sign in the portable gaming market while introducing some innovative concepts that surely made it a niche system but also a very unique one. But most of all, it was the perfect representation of Gunpei Yokoi's vision of a portable gaming console. And that's history. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. More videos are on the way, and they will get better, so be also sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell to be up to date. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.